Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I'm Julian Bonnici. Joining me today is Tim Diacono. We've got another special episode for you today. Our headlines are as follows. The first is all about a food delivery driver flagging physical aggression by Malta's police officer. We've got a story detailing Rosian Kutayar taking a drug test after her ex-partner's cocaine video was leaked online. The tale is about the PN hack and how details of over 21,000 people were leaked online. We've then got a story about a bit of prejudice in Malta with a tattooed guitarist calling out parents who told his daughter that they could not be friends with his family. And our last story is all about Alexandra Mamo becoming the first female deputy police commissioner. At the end of the show, we've got a really special interview with Chris Vincent. He's an actor and activist taking part in Posit TV. That's an online dramatic comedy. It will be airing in June, and it's all about a story got to do with HIV. It's going to be a really interesting interview, so stay tuned. Tim, on to our first story, your story actually.
Yes, so I spoke to a food delivery driver, Hungarian national called Gergo Horvat, who recounted quite a shocking incident that happened while he was delivering food to a customer in Valletta. So he said that he drove through a road that's usually open to traffic, but in this case it was closed off. He didn't notice because the truck was blocking the way, and a policeman came after him. Fair enough, saying like, "Oh, you can't drive here." However, the driver said like, "Look, my customer is just up the road. There's no other way to get to her house, and I need to deliver the food. I mean, she ordered it, and for me, the customer comes first. However, and if you want, you can fine me. Like, I mean, I broke the law, I accept it, so give me the fine." However, the policeman was having none of it, and physically stopped him from turning the key as he got out of the car, and stopped him getting his bag. As he got out of the car, he just slammed him against the car. And, this driver said, "Look, it's okay, fine, I made a mistake, but this is a completely exaggerated reaction. Like, I'm not a criminal, I mean, even the fact that he then called out loads of other policemen to come and help him out, and then he ended up in the police station. It shows that really police can be quite brutal if you disobey their orders and their authority. I mean, some people are saying that the police had every single right to do what he did, and he shouldn't have disobeyed them. But I mean, some common sense doesn't hurt either. I mean, it's just literally a guy doing his job, delivering food to someone else, and other cars were in the street as well.
Yeah, it's actually an issue I think that's probably quite pervasive in Malta, right? I think we tend to have sometimes overzealous police officers who maybe handle people questioning their authority in the wrong manner, right? It tends to become very aggressive. I know I've dealt with it. I'm sure many people out there have dealt with it too. Angelo Gaffar has so far done really good work in the police force. So I think this is just, sort of an issue he has to address, right? Our police officers should be community representatives, right? We shouldn't look at them almost with animosity or with, a confrontational attitude. So I really genuinely hope it gets addressed. On to our next story. It's all about Rosian Kutayar and her partner being forced to take a drug test after a video of him doing cocaine in 2019 was leaked online. The video shows Daniel Farrugia and a friend of his adding lines of cocaine in a bathroom. The video itself is not dated, however, people do believe it's in 2019. Rosian Kutayar was contacted about it, and she sort of said, this happened before my relationship even started, and sort of to prove it, she and Farrugia subjected themselves to a drug test, which came out negative. There is some merit to sort of back Rosian Kutayar's claims. Daniel Farrugia in the video is actually shown wearing a wedding ring, so it predates his relationship with Kutayar. Onto the story itself, obviously it was quite controversial, right? Because on the one hand you have an MP's partner, right, shown using an illicit substance. That MP is also Rosian Kutayar, right, who was forced to resign from cabinet because of her relationship with Jorgen Fenech. So obviously there was a lot of interest there. Then again, I do question maybe the merits of the story itself, right? This happened way before they were even going out, and as well, it's cocaine, right? I'm not trying to justify its use, but it's actually quite widespread around Malta. Actually, my honest opinion would be, you know, I know we're talking about cannabis reform and everything, but really I don't know why we just stick to cannabis. There are a lot of drugs and a lot of them, you know, need to be reformed, all those around it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the outrage about this video. I'm not scandalized in the slightest by it. I mean, those who have never tried drugs or those who don't know anyone who has tried drugs, please cast the first stone, but I think there'll be very few people doing it. What I hope will come out of it is like, I mean, if you had to take our politicians' word for it, none of them have ever taken drugs ever in their lives. Now, okay, fair enough. Some have never even taken alcohol, some have never smoked a cigarette. They're all perfect teetotalers apparently. But okay, Rosianko Tyra was not in the video, but her partner was, and it is a reality in Malta. And yeah, maybe after the cannabis discussion, then we could perhaps tackle other substances as well. But as it is, yeah, I mean, there you go. It's pretty common in Malta, and again, something that can be addressed in the future. Moving on, it seems as though the hackers' threats to the Nationalist Party have come to fruition, and the details of over 20,000 Tesserati PN members, officials, have been leaked online. So if you remember a few weeks ago, the PN received a threat from a group of hackers who told them that, you know, we've managed to hack into your system, we've got your database, and we'll leak it unless you pay us a ransom. The PN refused to even negotiate with these people, fair enough, as they should have done. As in, they shouldn't have negotiated to the hackers, or is the wrong thing to do. And for a while it seemed as though the hackers' threats were just empty. However, now they have released the detail, and it's a massive compromise of data, you know, so people can see who the Tesserati are. And we know, unfortunately, with Malta's culture, this whole, you know, it can be a bit taboo, that knowing that someone's a member of a party can land them into trouble, which is ridiculous, but there you go. It is a reality in Malta, especially if that party is the opposition party. My concern is that, from what I've heard, the PN's IT systems aren't the best. That, I mean, I'd have serious questions on what measures they are taken in the first place to safeguard this data from being leaked in this day and age, especially as a political party, you know, that hackers can be quite smart. And from what I heard, the PN's security system wasn't the best. So it would be interesting to see the PN come out and say, this is what we had to prevent it, this is what we're going to do from now on to make sure this never happens again.
Yeah, I mean, at its core, right, it's almost a bit of a betrayal of trust, right? You know, you've provided a major political party with quite sensitive data, right? Who you vote for, it could affect where you work and everything, you know, and all this data has now been leaked online. And while I do certainly hope the PM will release a statement saying what they plan to do to address the issue, I'm also looking for some action from the government as well, whether it comes in the form of statement or a form of funding to help them and beef up the security services. I think it's really necessary, right? It's a hack against our democracy. This is the biggest opposition party, and the government should really do something about it. The issue really should not be taken lightly. Let us know what you think in the comments below. On to our next story. Who thought prejudice around tattoos still existed in Malta? Well, yesterday, a leading Maltese guitarist and music teacher, Wayne Camilleri, shared a story on Facebook detailing, you know, how his daughter's friend is now not allowed to hang out with his daughter because of her father's tattoos. She's been ordered by the family, by her own parents, forbidding them, you know, just because this man, you know, is heavily inked, as though that's meant to be a judge of character. Clearly, this prejudice still exists. I can't see why, to be honest. I have tattoos myself. I know so many people who have tattoos, whether they're a banker, accountant, doctor, laborer, you name it, police officer. Quite a lot of people actually do them. Hopefully, you know, we're starting to move past the prejudice. the reactions to it were quite strong, and even Camilleri's own daughter, you know, stood up for her father when facing that kind of criticism. If you want to hear actually a little bit more about what people in Malta who have tattoos go through, Lovin Malta actually shared a video about it at the end of last year. Go check it out, it's on our Facebook page.
Yeah, Joe, like you said, I mean, it's quite astounding that this is still an issue in this day and age, and in a Malta that has become for many things so much more progressive, and then in such a tiny issue like this, you know, there's still this. It's small. I mean, it's not as much as it used to be, but it's still around. This whole prejudice against people wearing tattoos. But good on Wayne Camilleri for speaking out, because these issues need to be discussed in the open. And moving on to our final story of the day, Alexandra Mamo has become Malta's first ever female deputy police commissioner. Now, Alexandra Mamo, as you may know, is the person who was recently entrusted by the current commissioner to completely revamp the financial crimes police unit. It was a complete mess before, with investigation into major crime and corruption not even happening. But now she's revamped it. It has a very strong team, and we're even seeing high-profile prosecutions in court. So she's done a very good job. I think she's received praise from all quarters, and yes, it's her next. She's done enough to earn herself a promotion, so good luck to her. And who knows? Do you think that maybe she will? There's only one way to go, right? Deputy commissioner is the second in command. So the next, if she's going to get promoted again, there's only one thing she can get promoted to, which is being in charge of the actual police force.
Yeah, no, I think a really well-deserved promotion, right? I mean, you touched on it, the work she's done at the Financial Crimes Investigation Department, completely reformed it from unsavory figures like Ian Abdullah and Raymond Aquilina running the show to actually being a department that makes arrests, makes major arrests, and actually takes quite a lot of action. Alexandra Mamo has, I mean, not big shoes to fill, but she has a lot on her plate, right? Her predecessor is Silvio Valletta, at the end of the day, who was, who is under investigation for leaking sensitive information in the Daphne Caruana Galizia investigation. You know, some very, very serious allegations in his regard, which have seriously eroded people's trust in the police force. It's her and Angelo Gaffar's job to rebuild it. And to be honest, I have a little bit of hope that they could achieve it with the work that's being done so far. We're just going to turn to a short clip showing Minister Brian Camilleri announcing the appointment. After that, we've got an interview with Chris Vincent. He's an actor and activist starring in a new play called Positive.
Grazzi, Sur President. Nispera li meċ nisvela xi ħaġa li m'għandix tkun imma nikkonferma li l-Korp tal-Pulizija l-ewwel darba ser ikollu deputat kummissarju illi hija mara illi allura wara li kien hemm il-calls u applikaw persuni u anka sa fejn fien għadda l-perjodu tal-appell u ma kien hemm l-ebda appell minn dawk id-deċiżjonijiet.
Hi and welcome back. With me I've got Chris Vincent. Hi Chris, how are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here again.
Oh, welcome back, and we're talking about something at least a little bit different, your realm in acting, right? So it's all about this new play, Positive, about HIV, something you know well. Tell a little bit of our viewers out there, a bit about the play, what's it about?
So the play is about HIV, but it's about people first and foremost, connections and friendships. It's been written by Simon Bartolo on the basis of many personal stories from people living with HIV here in the Maltese Islands, and has then interwoven that into it's a comedy. Which is that nice and light, with some very serious and eye-opening moments as well, and hopefully also a bit educational without trying to be it.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice message to send out there, right? Sometimes, and when people living with an illness, whether it's HIV, whether it's cancer, whatever, sometimes are just a statistic, right? And we tend to forget that human element. How important is it, you know, to bring those human stories out there?
It's very. You heard from the other headlines. So you're talking about stigma. Apparently, that is a big. In generally, you have stigmas on these islands, and your solution is exactly this: that it needs to be a dialogue. We need to talk about it. And we need to show that it's not just some ghost in the closet. It's actually people with full-fledged stories, lives, and ambitions in life. And I feel that we really have a great way of showing these stories on stage with these this wonderful cast of actors with us, and yeah.
No, it's a nice story. So it's going to be online, right? It's going to be...
Yes, unfortunately, playing theater and then filming it is a really fun experience. Well, it will be available online from, I think, June 18th. You can buy tickets online for it. And what I find amazing, since I'm a Dane and I don't speak Maltese, the play is in Maltese, but will be subtitled in English, that's what it's called. So everyone can actually see this play. Yeah.
So what was that like actually? So for you being in a Maltese production?
I love it. I have to say I am so fascinated by Maltese language. For me, it's poetry. It's difficult, but it's poetry. No, it's a great. As an actor, it's a fun experience to be allowed to try to do this in a language and in a culture that is not your own. And you need to pick up on cues differently than normally, but it works. Thank you guys for helping me on stage.
Maybe they can give me some help as well. I'm sure my Maltese is a bit of improvement as well. So the topic is still serious, though. It's HIV. Yes. It's something you know well. Your activism is something you really know well. How was that? Bringing that experience onto a play like this.
Well, in case someone who doesn't know me, I am HIV positive myself, and I think what's so important about this play is indeed that we get to talk about the topic in a way that makes it less strange and less distant. As I say, it's about talking about this topic in a way that makes people understand that there's nothing more to be scared of, that the way that you might think about it is maybe a bit outdated, and because if you don't have it as part of your life, why would you know anything about HIV? So the idea of putting it on stage is actually not we're not reinventing the wheel here. Taking a sort of difficult topic and placing it on stage makes it more accessible for understanding from an emotional point of view and from a personal point of view, instead of, as you say, the statistics, the numbers, the shadows, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? In Malta, as a topic, it's not given as much visibility as it should, right? So we don't really get that, meeting people who are HIV positive, understand it's completely
people
normal.
Actually still, it's stigmatized to such a degree that you won't, I think I can still say this. This is 2 years after my first interview with you. I'm still officially, publicly, the only person speaking with my face that I have HIV, because people are scared of the consequences. You were not mentioning before about the the names being released, that of course the same kind of fear happens to people living with HIV. They're so afraid what will happen if this stigma, if this connotation follows them in life. And that's sad. So this is hopefully a way that we can start breaking the stigma and make people loving themselves more and having other people accept that this is just part of society, like so many other things.
Yeah, so I guess it's like a twofold benefit, right? You get the people who don't know about HIV, and the people who are living with HIV to have that confidence to be, I have representation.
Exactly, and representation is a very important word, because I think what I'm hearing from my community of people living with HIV is there's a lot of things they can recognize in the play. They can recognize the stories, the way the characters react emotionally to some of the situations, the ups and downs in the play. They can relate to it. And at the same time, people who has no idea about HIV has come to me telling me like, wow, I really didn't know this. I'm really happy about the way that this is explained. It makes it so much clearer to me now. So I feel that it's doing its work very well written, Simon Bartolo, and very well directed by Tony Attard, and a whole crew that is doing the best to make it look and sound amazing.
Yeah. That's it, exactly. We have the help beyond the camera as well to make us look good as well. So check it out, guys. It's going to be a really good play. And Positive, it's on online from 18 June to 30 June, directed by Tony Attad and written by Simon Bartolo. Stay tuned, and I always have a day full of lovin'.